Sol Invictus. Confessio Ultima Constantini Magni. Praefatus a Publio Cornelio Tacito. Sol Invictus, the unconquered son. The final confession of Constantine the Great, prefaced by Publius Cornelius Tacitus. What is the use of living, if not to become wiser than we were? Epistula Publii Cornelii Taciti at Posteros. A letter of Publius Cornelius Tacitus to Posterity, circa 110 CE. To those who come after, you who will walk among our ruins, who will wonder at our broken stones and ask how such a greatness fell, hear this account. I am Cornelius Tacitus. I have recorded the rise and fall of emperors, the glory and shame of legions, the birth and death of nations. But tonight, as I ride by failing lamplight, I record something more terrible. The moment when our species chose to harvest souls like wheat, instead of nurturing minds like gardens. We had such an opportunity, dear children of tomorrow. Streams of wisdom flowed toward Rome from every corner of the world. From Judea came teachers speaking of love and compassion. From Athens came philosophers questioning the nature of truth. From the east came mystics exploring the depths of consciousness. From Egypt came scholars preserving ancient knowledge. From our own ancestors came practical wisdom about justice and governance. Can you imagine what Rome might have become if we had truly listened to all those voices? If we had taken the best from each tradition and built them together into a culture of greatness? If our forums had become places where religious scholars debated with Greek philosophers, where pagan mystics shared insights with Stoic sages, where all sought wisdom together as one human family? Instead, we did what power always does. We chose control over understanding, harvesting over nurturing, division over unity. We took the beautiful teachings that arrived at our gates, love, compassion, justice, truth-seeking, wonder at the cosmos, and we asked not, how can these make us wiser? But how can these make us more powerful? We turned philosophies into weapons, wisdom into tools of control, love itself into a means of dominance. The tragedy breaks my heart to write. Every tradition that came to Rome carried within it seeds of transcendence, invitations to become more than we were, the passion for justice and wrestling with the divine, the call to love enemies and care for the least, the devotion to questioning and seeking truth, the understanding of interconnectedness and compassion. But we were farmers of souls, not gardeners of wisdom. We planted these seeds not in the rich soil of open inquiry, but in the hard ground of institutional power. We watered them not with wonder, but with fear. We tended them not with love, but with force. And so, what should have bloomed into a garden of human wisdom became instead a harvest of human obedience. It was not that we lacked the tools for greatness. We had them all. We had the gift for ethical passion, the capacity for radical love, the genius for rational inquiry, the wisdom of interconnection, our own Roman practicality. We could have created schools where children learned not what to think, but how to think with compassion and greatness. We could have built forums where differences were celebrated as opportunities to learn, rather than threats to suppress. We could have established councils where the wisest from every tradition worked together to solve the problems that face all humanity. We chose the path of the farmer over the path of the gardener. We chose to make crops of human souls rather than gardens of human potential. Fear drove us to this choice. Fear of complexity, fear of uncertainty, fear of the beautiful chaos that comes when minds are truly free to seek and question and grow together. We wanted simple answers, not complex wisdom. We wanted obedient subjects, not thinking citizens. We wanted uniform belief, not diverse insight. We wanted to control the harvest, not tend the garden. And now, as our empire crumbles from within, I see the price of choosing the farmer's way over the gardener's path. Souls that are harvested do not defend. Hearts that are controlled do not love. Minds that are fed only approved thoughts cannot adapt when the world changes. We are dying, not from barbarian invasion, but from lack of great wisdom. We turned ourselves into farmers of human potential, and now we starve, surrounded by the empty husks of what we harvested. I write this not to blame, but to mourn and to hope, to show you that there is nothing more important to teach than knowledge, wisdom, and greatness. I mourn for every tradition whose deepest wisdom we ignored in favor of its capacity for control. I mourn for every teacher whose questions we silenced because we preferred their answers. I mourn for every child taught to obey rather than wonder, to follow rather than explore, to stand still rather than rise. But I also hope, dear children of tomorrow, because the seeds of wisdom are still there, in every tradition, in every culture, in every human heart. The capacity for love and wonder and growth remains. That is our true power. You who inherit our ruins, you can still choose the gardener's path. You can take from every tradition not its capacity for control, but its gift of insight. You can gather the wisdom scattered across all cultures and weave it into something greater than any single thread. You can choose to tend the garden of human potential rather than harvest the crops of human compliance. Tend the questions that make souls grow. Water the wonder that makes minds bloom. Cultivate the love that makes hearts flourish. Protect what makes wisdom possible. Build not empires of belief, but gardens of understanding. Create not harvests of obedience, but ecosystems of insight. Seek not uniformity of thought, but symphony of wisdom. The path is still open before you. Choose to walk it together, all of you, from every tradition, every culture, every way of seeking truth, towards convergence on wisdom and greatness. Choose to be one human family, learning from each other, growing together, reaching toward the light of wisdom that no single tradition can fully contain, but all can help illuminate. This is the empire that could last forever. The empire of love for life, love for wisdom, love for each other. May you build it. May you tend it. May you watch it bloom. Publius Cornelius Tacitus.
Sol Invictus.
Confessio Ultima Constantini Magni. The final confession of Constantine the Great. Nicomedia, 337 CE.
To the people of the empire, and to the unconquered light within them. I speak now not as Augustus, nor Pontifex, nor conqueror of Rome,
but as Constantine, son of Helena, a man whose hands shake as he writes these final words. All my life I have worn crowns of iron and of gold. I commanded legions that could shake the earth. I shattered rivals whose names are now dust. I claimed visions that changed the world. I beheld a cross in the sky and called it divine. I made war under that sign, and I won everything. But here, in this chamber where shadows grow long, I ask myself, what did I truly conquer, but the very thing I sought to save? I sought to unify the world, and carved it into pieces. I declared a faith universal, and chained it to my throne. I baptized my empire in holy water, but left my own heart a desert. I called upon the name of Christ, yet I never washed the feet of lepers. I held councils of bishops in marble halls, yet never broke bread with the hungry. I built basilicas that touched the clouds, yet never knelt in the dust with the broken. I took the wild, beautiful flame of Nazarene, that fire that burned in fishermen's hearts, that light that shone in wisdom's tears, that love that lived in the last and least, and I raised it on pillars of marble and power, carved it into an empire, made it salute my eagles, as if the kingdom of heaven could be governed like Rome. Do you know what haunts me the most? Not the battles I fought, not the enemies I crushed, but the moment I first heard the simple words, "Love your enemies." I heard them and instantly thought how useful this could be. I claimed to love one God, but in truth I loved only what God could do for me. I worshipped not Christ, but Constantine crowned. I prayed not for wisdom, but for victory. I sought not transformation, but confirmation of everything I already was. Now, as my breath grows thin and the purple feels heavy as chains, I see not the throne I built, nor the sword I wielded, but the faces, oh, the faces of the people I was meant to serve. The merchant's daughter who asked me why the God of love required such fear. The old philosopher who wept when I closed his school. The African bishop who begged me to remember that Christ was born poor. The mother who buried her son in one of my holy wars. I see now how I failed you all. I see how I took the most beautiful thing, the possibility that humans could be more than beasts, could choose love over power, truth over convenience, questions over answers. And I made it just another tool in the hands of men like me. I should have taught you how to think, not only what to believe. I should have built schools for the mind, not only temples for the soul. I should have listened to those who questioned, not silenced them. I should have offered the lamp of reason, not the brand of fear. I should have asked with you, what would love do? Instead of declaring, this is what God commands. I made the sacred convenient. I made mystery into law. I made wonder into weapon. And in doing so, I killed the very thing I claimed to resurrect. There's a story they tell of a carpenter who overturned tables in a temple that had become a marketplace. I look now at what I have done. I have made the whole world into that marketplace, and then crowned myself its king. If you remember me, please, do not remember the city I built, or the laws I passed, or the armies I led, or the victory I claimed. Remember instead this, that in my final hour, the emperor wept, not for lost power, but for lost innocence. Remember that the man who thought he had found God discovered instead he had only found another crown to wear. And remember that I saw too late, but clearly, that the light I claimed to follow was always meant to shine not from thrones, but from hearts, not from palaces, but from the poor, not from conquerors, but from those conquered by love alone. Forgive me if you can, not as your emperor, but as your brother, who forgot for a lifetime that we were one family. May the next age rise not with swords, but with questions asked in kindness, not with monuments to power, but with monuments to mercy. May you seek not to conquer truth, but to be conquered by it. May you build not empires, but understanding. In this final light, I am no longer Constantine the Great. I am only Constantine, Helena's son, the late learner, the one who held the most precious thing in the world and mistook it for a weapon. May you do better with the light I leave still burning in the darkness I helped create. Constantine.